Hi, this is Donna from Clever Crafting. Thank you for joining me. So we are on day 2 and card 2 of the 12 Christmas cards that I'm making in a row. So this one is quite a nice card actually, and you can make 2 cards with the one lot here. So it's kind of could be easily a twofer. So what I'm doing is I've cut 2 fairly large circles. I think they're about 9.5 centimeters wide, and I'm just folding one in half here and cutting it in half. So this is 2 different pattern papers out of the same paper pattern pack. I'll be using the same paper pattern pack for the whole 12 cards. And yeah, I'm just cutting this in half. Nothing too fancy about this. I just folded it so I could see a line to cut it. Now I'm using this one as a guide to cut the other piece in half. So I decided on getting a fairly fancy one and a fairly plain one. And now I'm just gluing the 2 halves onto a piece of scrap cardstock. So this is a fairly light cardstock. I use the J. Burrows cardstock for my matting like this that I get from Officeworks here in Australia. It's at 250 GSM, but it's a fairly light cardstock, so it's good for these sorts of things. Now you could just cut around the edges of that with scissors. I, however, like everything to be just so I'm going to grab my circle die again, the same size, and I'm just going to attach that, and I'm going to run it through my Cuttlebug. Of course, I've done that off screen and off camera, yeah. And then here's the end result. So you can see the join there, and of course I didn't cut them quite evenly, so I've decided I'm just going to put a little piece of ribbon over it. So I grabbed some, this is some organza ribbon. It's 1.2 centimeters wide. Just happened to have it in my stash, so you know, nothing really fancy about it. Just whatever you've got is going to work without a problem at all. And I'm just going to stick that on the back just using some Scotch tape. You could use any sort of sticky tape. You could put double-sided tape on the back if you wanted to. It's not going to matter. It's just something to help secure it at the back. I don't like to use glue or anything on my ribbons on the front, so I always like to secure them on the back wherever I can. And now I'm just going to grab another piece of the Scotch tape and I'm going to stick it on the underside as well. So I've stuck both sides underneath, and then I'm going to trim it off. So nice and easy. Let's trim that off. Then you can still see the join, of course, through the organza. So this is a little 3mm satin ribbon that's an ivory color, and I'm going to do exactly the same with that. Just use the tape to stick it on either side. So off camera, I cut a little red strip and I stuck it down on my card. I just kind of felt that you know, was a really good look, just a plain red strip there. And now I'm deciding what to do with it. So I put a little offcut from one of the other pieces that I used, and it looked okay, but I wasn't really happy with it. And then I thought, oh, well, maybe I'll use that same 3mm ribbon. And yeah, no, I decided not against that either. So what if I just use the red? I haven't stuck that red down yet. I thought I had. And you know, that looks pretty good with the red. Made myself a little bow, as you can see there from the organza ribbon. So I'm just going to pop some glue on the back of this red strip. I think that red strip is about 2 centimeters wide, or maybe even less. 2 centimeters, 3/4 of an inch around that, I think. And then, and of course, it's the full length of the card. So this is going directly on the card base, which is a 350 GSM white card base. So I buy 350 GSM A4 card, cut it in half and fold it in half. So I'm just using the same stamp set, the Christmas greeting stamp set that I will also be using throughout all of the cards picked. One of the stamps, in this case it's Merry Christmas, nice and simple, and I've stamped that on with the Festive Berries Distress Oxide. One of the things I love about the Distress Oxides is they're also quite good for stamping, so, and the color matched perfectly. All right, so here's my bauble, and you can see that I've put a bow on top, and I've attached the bow. I used just a glue dot for that, and I've also put some double-sided foam tape on the back. So I'm just going to remove the double-sided foam tape. Now you could use paper scraps on here to pop this up. You know, if you've got a heap of paper scraps, you could layer them underneath. You could use some of the kids' craft foam on the back, whatever you've got. It's just that little bit of dimension really adds a big bang to the card itself. And there we go, this Christmas card is done. So you can see that, as I said earlier, you could easily make 2 of these at the same time, Nice and easy little card. Here's some close-ups of it. So I'd really like to thank you for joining me. I hope that you've learned something that's really important to me, that you learned something to try. This is a nice simple card, so you'd be able to make these en masse. Don't forget, I'll be back here tomorrow night as well, 12 cards in 12 days. And until then, stay safe and happy crafting.